Welcome back to the How to Podcast series. It's Dave with you, episode 424, and we're here with you. And if you look at the title of the episode, you're like, wait, what's this? Dave, I'm a musician. I've been doing music for 45 years, and one of the popular things that we throw around as musicians is a little quote we like to use, especially to the songwriters in the room who just have a hard time getting to the point. It's, don't bore us, get to the chorus. And it's something that's been something that we wave this flag quite often. And the idea here relating to podcasting, because this is the How to Podcast show, not the How to Music show, is we're going to take this belief and this quote and adapt it to how we do the beginning of our show, and that there might actually be an advantage to not doing that long extended intro. You know the one. Here, I'll try to make one up for you so that you'll see what I mean. All right, let's try this. Here's a long extended intro that, for me, I have a hard time with. Okay? All right, here we go. Welcome to the How to Podcast series. My name is Dave. Today we're going to tell you about how to do A, then we're going to tell you how to do B, then we're going to tell you how to do C, and then we're going to tell you how to do D. Today's guest has been doing his work for many, many years. He went to high school at this location, then he went to college and he studied this, and this. Then he went to another college and he studied this, and this. Then he got his first job doing this, his next job doing that, and then he started his own company. That failed. He started 5 more companies. They all failed. And now he started a new company. He's written a book. The book is called This. He's got 5 more books coming. And he's got a coaching program. And we're welcoming him to the show. We're going to talk about A, B, C, D, E, F, and there's a bonus tip of G. Welcome to the show. And then we top it off with me talking about myself. Welcome to the show. My name is Dave. I've been podcasting for this long. I have this award, this award, this award. I've written this book, this book, this book, this book, and this book. I've done this thing, that thing, and this thing. I've spoken here, 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 and here. I am an expert on this, and this. And you're lucky to have me. Okay, now, that's the intro to the episode. You have just laid out there are no surprises to be had, because I have laid out everything. You know now everything that we're going to talk about. You almost could hit stop here if I had filled in all the blanks and given you all the real information. You basically have the introduction is like watching a movie trailer where you kind of get the whole gist of the whole movie, and you don't need to see the movie because all of the good parts is at the beginning in the trailer, and then you're done. And you're like, even the movie's probably worse than the trailer. So I'm wondering, taking the theme of don't bore us, get to the chorus, maybe there's another approach that we can try. Okay, so if you've been doing this kind of extended intro, and then some people do a double intro. So they'll introduce their guest, and then they will have the guest on, and they do it again. So that's another thing that seems to be happening. But this whole idea of the chorus starting the song, there's actually some research I've been doing to pull out a few songs that actually start with the chorus. Some of these you're going to know right off the bat. So we have, let's see, I Wanna Rock by Twisted Sister from 1984. Starts with the chorus. Boom, right off the bat. She Loves You by the Beatles, 1963. Bam, chorus right off the bat. Shout by Tears for Fears, Let It All Out. 1984. Bang, chorus right away. All these are examples of songs that begin right away, straight into the chorus. Edge of 17, Stevie Nicks, 1982. Bam, chorus. I Shot the Sheriff, Bob Marley and the Wailers, 1973. Bang, into the chorus. Minority, Green Day. Song 2 by Blur. Any Way You Want It, Journey. Boom, Any Way You Want It. That's what, right? Boom, right away. All of these are examples of songs that start with the chorus. You are immediately inserted into what is happening in the song. You don't have a chance to catch a breath. Think of the Bond movies. What is a Bond movie? Does it set up like this long story of, well, here's Mr. James Bond, and here's him growing up, and here's where he went to school, and here's his first day on the job, and la la la, and then he did this, and then he did this, and then eventually he became a spy. No, you are in the front seat of a car driving along the edge of the mountain with the ocean beside you. There are people trying to kill you. There are gunshots going off, bombs exploding, people flying all over the place. You don't have a chance. You don't have an opportunity to go, I don't know if I'm into this or not. You are in, boom, bang, right away. You have no chance to respond and double think about, is this for me or not? You're trying to catch your breath in that moment because the action's already started. And my fear for people in podcasting who start with lengthy introductions around your guest or for you as a solo podcaster for your own topic. And you go on and on and on. And you give a big recap of everything you're going to cover, all of the main points, all of the things. Meanwhile, I'm just like, don't bore us. Get us to the chorus. Like, let's just get to the thing. So I found this clip, again, TikTok keeps feeding me stuff, so I'm sharing it with you as well, where there's a group of people talking about the idea that in improv, it's all about getting into the story and starting in the middle. And again, this is a suggestion. You don't have to do this, but I'm trying to offer you an alternative to those long and often boring intros where it just seems like the host keeps going on and on and on. You might be losing people right off the bat because they're just bored. So maybe in your next episode, try starting in the middle. And we're going to give you some ideas around how you can do that. But here's the clip that kind of sparked the idea, corresponding with the quote of don't bore us, get us to the chorus. Here's some feedback from others around, having a better introduction to your content.
There's a thing in improv where they teach you start in the middle of the scene. A good improv scene, movie, whatever it is, isn't, hello, my name's this, my name's this. All right, well, today we're here to discuss football. All right, you want to just start on them talking about football. Get to the part.
Yes, I hate it when they're like, in this video today, this is what we're doing.
If you spoon feed people all of the context, it's actually boring. And it doesn't require your brain to fill in the gaps and to work and to deduce and deduct. And part of what makes great storytelling is it's this combination of not sharing all the context with the audience. By starting in the middle of the scene, you have so many unanswered questions. That's you being engaged in the story.
So there we go. I love the idea that you can just jump into the content. You can get started. One of the things that I do, and again, remember, do whatever works for you on your show. These are all suggestions. We're all friends. And some of this might work for you. Some of it might not. But for me, like on Living the Next Chapter, my author podcast, I've had it for over 3 years, 550 plus episodes, 3 episodes a week, and then every November, 30 episodes in a row. That's a podcast that's just chugging away. And every episode, because I'm not an author, the show is not about me. It's all interview-based. Now, you're going to hear people in podcasting who are going to tell you that if you have an interview-based podcast, you should be doing solo episodes because nobody's going to fall in love with you. They're going to fall in love with your guest. I push back on that because that show is all about the guests. I'm not an author as the host of the show. I have no books for you to buy. I got no programs. I got no services, no coaching, nothing. This podcast is a service to authors and to publishers and to people who are out there creating great books. It's not about me. So every episode starts with a clip from one of my guests from their episode where I bring it forward to the beginning of the podcast. And this is how I do my show. We come from their clip. My intro music comes in. It's like, welcome to the Living the Next Chapter podcast for authors. Today on the show, I have Dave Campbell. He's a podcaster and he's written a book. And welcome, Dave. Nice to have you here. The guest says hi. And then my first question is, tell everybody where you are in this great big world of ours. The reason why I do that is because I want to show that there's a global audience and my guests come from around the world. And you might hear your city, your country, your state, your province mentioned. And you're like, oh my gosh, this is somebody from where I live. So what I'm trying to do is show that we bring people from all over the place. So that's my first question. And then right away, with a little coaching to my guest in advance in a pre-chat, we jump in. I'm like, so I have listeners to this show, and they are wanting to become an author, just like you. You've done it. You're published. And the listener, they're just beginning. What kind of advice would you have for an author to get them started in their journey as an author? We're going right away. There's no, this is the author. Here's their books. Here's what they've done. Here's their education. Here's all of the things that they love. Here's their hobbies. Here's how many pets they have, how many children they have. Here's their favorite color, their favorite food, their favorite this, their favorite that. It's just, let's get into it. Remember, your listeners they're holding their phone in some cases and deciding whether or not to put it away and listen to your episode or skip to something else. Like, I'm out. This is not for me. So I purposely have a different voice every episode. I want to show variety. I want to show that this show is not about Dave as the host of the podcast. I'm just there to facilitate the conversation. It's not about me. So there's no reason to have me at the front. I don't have solo episodes. Very rarely do I have a solo episode on Living the Next Chapter because, again, who cares what I have to say? I'm not an author. I've never done this. So it's not about me. It's about facilitating a platform for authors to share their story. So that's on purpose. So all of these gurus who tell me that, oh, you should have a rule that you should have only this many episodes as get hosted as having interviews, and this should be how many you have as solo. If you don't follow this rule, you're not a good podcaster. It's all garbage. It's all garbage because it has nothing to do with my show. And for me to remake my show so that I have guest and solo episodes on that podcast makes zero sense. I have nothing to offer from a writer's perspective of any value to my audience because I'm not a writer. And so that doesn't work for me. So as you pull in all this information from the gurus, and then you start remaking your show because somebody told you you're doing it wrong or there's a better way, think about it. And if your show is working and everything is happening the way you want it to, then don't mess around with it. And don't just buy into the next guru's advice on what you should do. So even as you listen to this episode and you're like, yeah, no, I'm not, I don't think this works for me and my show, then great. You don't need to do any of this stuff. These are all suggestions. My big takeaway for you, whether or not you act on the content of this episode or not, is try to get to something that's meaningful for the audience as soon as possible. The intro of your show shouldn't be all about you. How many degrees you have, how many awards you've won, all of your accolades, everything that you've done. It's boring. It's boring. It is so boring and so self-serving. It just feels like a big you-fest. And then to go in right from that into your guest, it's all about the guest, the guest, the guest. The guest did this, the guest did that. As a listener, I'm like, I don't care. Let's just get to the conversation and let me decide if this person is worth caring about. Let's get to what we're talking about. So again, going back to what you heard in the clip, just the idea that starting in the middle and letting people kind of fill in the blanks is mentally stimulating instead of force feeding everybody all of the stuff where they feel like there's no mystery anymore. Because you've given me everything I need to know about the guest. You've given me everything I need to know about the topic of the day. And I feel like I'm overserved. Like somebody who gives too much alcohol at an event. You are overserving. You got to cut it off and start the podcast. Get into it. Get into the conversation. I just think it's something to consider the next time you go to hit record for your guest interview or your solo episode. Get into the content. If you had a podcast that tells stories, I don't want to hear about your day and your cat and what you had for dinner. I'm here for the story. So let's just get to the story. Okay? These are all things that are going to help you to get more people to listen longer to your episodes because the episode is designed for the listener. It's not designed for you. It's not designed for your guest. It's all designed for your listener. And if you lose sight of your listener your podcast is going to struggle because people will leave faster than they'll stay because there's nothing in it for them. So they're done. They're out of here. They're on to the next thing. You have a short window on YouTube. You have a short window in your audio podcast to get people to commit to the episode and stick through it. So the sooner you can get into it without drawing out the intro to the extreme, again, the extreme, then the better that's going to be for your show. So don't bore us. Get us to the chorus. Like we mentioned with all those songs that you probably know and have heard, they all start off with a bang. They're right in, right away. There's no chance to catch your breath. And again, like the James Bond movies, boom, first scene, opening scene, you're in. There's no turning back. You're going to get in your seat as fast as possible because the action is going to start at the beginning, not like 10 minutes later. We want to start and get our podcast moving and action happening as soon as possible when people press play on our podcast. The same principle of don't bore us, get us to the chorus applies to podcasting, especially when it comes to the start of your episode. Think about improv comedy, like you heard in that little clip. One of the first lessons is to start in the middle of the scene. You don't waste time introducing the characters or setting up the world or explaining what's happening and giving all this background information. You just jump right into the action. Two people already arguing about a football. Bam. You have to kind of figure out, well, what's happening here? What football? Where are these people? What are they doing? What happened to get to this point? You don't know. You just know there's an argument about a football. And you're like, oh, whoa, okay, wow. It's like you just walked up on this happening in real time. You have no context to what got them to this situation, what happened, whose football it is. You have no idea. You just know that there's two people having an all-out war about a football. Now you fill in the blanks. That's much more interesting than a 5-minute introduction about the football and the story behind the football. And now here's the scene with the football. You're like, what? Jump right in. Don't do awkward introductions where people explain who they are and their motivations and why they're here and their backstory. And, well, when I was little, my mom took my football away and I've always had this empty hole in my life where only a football could fill. Right? No, just get into it. Just let this approach immediately pull in the audience so that you make them curious and invested right from the very moment they hit play. And too often, I think podcasts get bogged down in these lengthy introductions, excessive backstory, or today on the show, we'll be talking about blah, 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 blah. And when you spoon feed every single detail and context and content and big ideas and motivations behind the big ideas, you actually rob your audience of the chance to be engaged. Great storytelling leaves some questions. Great storytelling doesn't start with all the answers. It starts with the story. And you're immediately thrown into a situation that you don't know have all the answers. You don't know all the things that led up to this moment. And great storytelling always leaves questions. Questions that are unanswered at first, but it will be solved and answered in due time. It trusts the listener to fill in the gaps, to deduce, and discover as the podcast episode unfolds, like, this is what keeps people leaning in and wanting to know more, because it's like, I got to catch up. I got to catch up to what's happening in the story. So as a podcaster, my challenge for you is to get to the chorus as quickly as possible in your content, starting with a compelling moment, a bold statement, or an intriguing question, and let the audience's curiosity do the work. Instead of just force-feeding and babying your audience, just let the audience do the work. Not only will this make your show more dynamic, it will also show that you have respect for your listeners' ability to fill in the blanks and that they're intelligent. They're not dumb. They have the ability to make up their own mind, and they don't need you to hold their hand and drag them along throughout the content. I just love the idea that we can learn so much from improv. And I think improv has a big bonus for podcasters in that it helps you to think quickly on your feet and gives you some best practices that might translate really well for your show. So go back and listen to your intros for the last 10 episodes and maybe a stopwatch or something that keeps track of time and go, how long did it take for me on that episode, whether it's solo episode or a guest, how long did it take to get to the good stuff where the audience was identified, brought in, and there was value for the audience? How long did it take for you to get to the value? Was it halfway through the show? Was it in the first 30 seconds? Where did it lie? As a truthful, honest review of your own podcast, how long did it take until your audience felt like this is a valuable conversation? This is a valuable topic. This brings value to me as a listener. How long did it take? And if you can shorten that, if you could cut that into half. So if it took you 60 seconds, try 30. If it took you 4 minutes, try 2. And just try and see what happens to your retention rates. So that you can see in Apple, that you can see in Spotify. It'll actually show you how long people listened to a specific episode before they left and just went, nah, not for me. And if you're finding that your intros are too long, people might not even be getting to the content. They're leaving you before your guest even says their first word because you're taking too long to get to them. My challenge for you is to tighten this up and get to the content as soon as you can and try it. Try it for a few episodes and then you compare it to how you used to do your episode. And you make the best call for you. This might not work for you. This might not be the best option for you. And maybe your audience loves the extended intros. Maybe they're passionate about them. Maybe they're really fun. That's completely up to you and what you've built for your podcast. But I would say for a new podcaster who doesn't have an audience yet, and you're in your first few episodes of your show, try to get to the main thing as soon as you can. That feels comfortable for you. And try to avoid, I would say as a bonus tip, try to avoid all the personal stuff right off the bat. So if you missed a week of your podcast because life got in the way and you did things and you didn't release your episode last week, instead of coming on and giving a 5-minute explanation why you missed last week's episode and I'm so sorry and I'll never do it again and all this. Remember, there's people coming to your show for the first time. They don't even know about your last episode. This is their first time through the door. And to hear a bunch of apologies, probably not the most welcoming thing for a new person. Put all that stuff at the end. The people who love you and support you and worry about you when you go missing and go dark, they will love to hear the update at the end of the podcast, where all of your long-standing listeners generally hang out. They stay to the end. So put it there. And it's at the end. It's still in the content, but you can do that at the end. Keep the beginning nice and tight, open, get right to the content, get to the valuable stuff first, and play with your podcast. Don't get stuck in a rut. And don't let anybody tell you you're doing your podcast wrong. Not even me. No. Do what works for you and challenge yourself to try something new on your next episode. You might just stumble upon something that your audience loves because you tried something new. So be brave. You can't break your podcast. It's really difficult to do that. You can always try, get feedback, and change. If your audience says, I didn't like that, then maybe you change. Or you just bring in new audience members. Something's going to happen. So think about it from that context. And again, going back to that quote from the clip I played earlier, your podcast audience are smart. They're smart people. Don't think of them as not having an education. Don't think of them as being in the dark about the content. They're smart because they listen to you. They come to your show because they love you. And They have expertise and knowledge. So don't look down on them and don't spoon feed them. They are smart people. So acknowledge them, support them, and encourage them by getting to your content as soon as you can. And I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you tried this? Did it work? Did it not work? What did you learn? And what did you decide to do for your podcast? I'd love to hear over at howtopodcast.ca. Come let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts, pushback, rebuttals, gentle, I disagree with you, Daves, whatever. I'm happy to hear this. It's something that I've been doing in my shows, having this get to the content as quick as possible. I've been doing it for a long time, and I've been building up my audience that way. And it's working for me, so I'd love to hear it's working for you. Again, do what works for you. Do what works for your audience. Every show's unique, and not every single guru is correct. So do what works for you, and don't blow up your show because somebody gave you feedback. Make sure you're happy with it. At the end of the day, your show has to bring you joy. You need to be proud of what you do and the people you serve in your content. And to that end, I would love to hear your show. I'm always looking for new shows to fall in love with. Let me know at howtopodcast.ca. Thanks for being here. And remember, don't bore us. Get us to the chorus. Hey, thanks for being here. Thank you for listening to the end of the podcast. You're here with me. I'm so grateful. I want to put something in front of you. For the person that's listened this far, you're my new best friend. So what I'm trying to do every month is I have a goal, and you can help me with this goal. Very simple. What I'm trying to do is have 5 conversations this month with listeners of the How to Podcast series. You don't have to have a podcast to respond. This can be the first time ever that we're going to have a conversation, but I'm looking to talk to 5 people. Now, you're still here, so you're one of the people that I would love to talk to next. So on my howtopodcast.ca website is a calendar, and I'd love to have you respond on howtopodcast.ca. Just click the calendar link, set up time in my calendar, and in the comment section for the meeting, just put something like listener. That's it. If you have a show, put it in the comments too so I can go listen. But if you don't, I just want to talk to 5 listeners every month from now to the end of the month. So if you're listening to me right now, you're the person I want to talk to. And through howtopodcast.ca, you and I can get together, chat about the show, chat about your journey as a podcaster. Where are you at? What do you need this show to become for you? What's missing? Your feedback. I just want to meet you. And as podcasters, I would encourage you to do something similar to this in your podcast so that you can meet and interact with your audience. So, howtopodcast.ca, I'm looking to talk to 5 people every month, and I would love for you to be one of them. Reach out. It's free. I'm not selling you anything. I just want to talk to you at howtopodcast.ca. Let's get in the calendar and chat. Thanks for listening.